Welcome one and all to my channel. Um, Today's video, I I try not to be political, but or try to talk politics, but the fact that this guy represents my district, George Santos, it's some of the more stuff that's coming out is really comical to say the least. Uh, I mean, finding out that he basically stole his roommate's scarf to go to a steal the rally and wear that scarf there is in and of itself ironic. Um, the fact that he conned a homeless vet $3,000 to help a service dog, and that basically set up a fake GoFundMe for helping pets when he really apparently didn't, is, I mean, I don't know what to say. I honestly have no idea what to say at this point. Quite honestly, this is like really surprising. Um, I didn't think none of this could happen, but it did. And so the real question is what other lies will we find out about him? I mean, there is one thing that kind of like irks me a little. Um, I mean, a lot of people should be angry about this part, for sure. Um, the fact that he said his mother initially had died from the 9/11 attacks. Turns out he changed the story narrative on that. It's like, oh, well, no, she didn't die from it. She died of cancer much years later, but chances are she died from being at the South Tower during 9/11 and probably got cancer from it. But in reality, there's documents showing from the INS, when you do the Freedom of Information Act, the Times has reported basically that, and you look up the New York Times, basically, you can look it up for this one, basically. I forgot the person, to the point where basically she wasn't even in New York. She was in Brazil. Apparently her green card or something was stolen, so she was there until 2002 or 2003 and came back to New York, basically. So the fact from 99 to 2003 or 2002, she wasn't even in New York, and Santos basically said she was working in the South Tower. The other fact is also that he said that his mother was a high level executive, when in reality there is proof showing that she was pretty much a housekeeper and sold food. So it's the absurdity of these lies now is becoming too absurd that it's to the point where, like, the New York Times on for an article that was posted on January 17th, 2023, wonders how a man like Santos got away with all this, or like how he's able to con people out of this. And it came down to the point where, like, they were possibly thinking about his attire, basically. And it shows that his attire, kind of dressing a little bit preppy in a ways. Also wearing, the sweater vests, or not sweater vests, but more the vests, like finance bros would be wearing. Like, as you said, like, some of the, like hedge fund, like billions. Think of billions, basically, where they're always wearing the vests, and always wearing a sweater with, a tie underneath or something like that, like kind of portraying as that young preppy young Republican, basically. So they're saying that the way, his attire would adapt at that point. So basically, he was dressing to be, a persona that he possibly wasn't. And the other aspect was that some people are saying possibly even the glasses might be fake, just so he can look the part a little bit more. I mean, if now let's not forget that, yeah, it's true. Some athletes were wearing glasses where there were no frames. It was just for style, meaning they were not functional glasses. They were just for style more than anything else. So I'm not gonna point him to that, but it's just comical to the point of, like, what else is gonna be fake? Is his name fake? We don't know. I mean, he's gone by other aliases. We know that. Um, it's to the point where one has to wonder about his sexuality. Now, could that be true or not? I don't know. I mean, it seems like it is true, and I'm not going to take anything away, but I don't know what else he's fabricated. I knew, you know, we knew for, oh, well, I knew for sure that there was definitely more to it if people started researching more into him. Chances are there's going to be a lot more in-depth research. He should have realized the scrutiny that he was going to come under once being elected. The fact that he didn't foresee this is surprising. And the fact is now also the fact that McCarthy basically appointed him to 2 committees is even more surprising. I mean, is McCarthy rewarding him because he didn't go towards the far right, that he voted for McCarthy for speaker, and then he's rewarding him? It's becoming a little bit worrisome for the Republican Party and for the Democratic Party, for that matter, too, for any party, that now it's more of a case where, like, you can con yourself into being into Congress. If you could con your way into that, then what integrity will there be for our lawmakers at that point? This is something that, like, we have to have a high standard in this aspect of, like, like, it's one thing to, like, have 1 or 2 lies, or maybe 3 lies for that matter, and, like, maybe white lies, but lying throughout the entirety of it, basically the whole persona of him is being fabricated just to get elected, is kind of worrisome. It, as I said, it kind of reminds me of that movie Distinguished Gentleman, which Eddie Murphy played in, and I'm starting to realize, like, it's starting to look like art is imitating life now. First, you had Idiocracy, where people were voting for the dumbest man to be their leader. In this case, Donald Trump. And now, a con man practically has conned his way into Congress. I mean, you got to wonder what's next at this point, to be honest. And the reason I'm still waiting on the ethics committee for this. I'm like, granted, the Republicans have, have control of the House, but the fact is like, their ethics committee, they can't be hypocrites in this case. They can't be. If they are, then there's going to be a serious reckoning down the line, basically, to the point where, like, I can see the natural, progressive, more moderate Republicans breaking away and then calling themselves basically probably the Lincoln Republicans. I don't know, maybe, who knows, to the fact that they just want to separate from the far right wackadoo of Republicans like the Gates and the Trumps and such out of there. Or two, maybe kick them out, like, you know what, we're going to call you the Trump Republicans, even though if they do that, that builds the man's ego at that point as well, too. Just call them the far out right Republicans, or whatever it is, like the Tea Party or the whatever it is. Call them out whatever you want, but you got to separate them at that point. It's again, it's like something. It's just like I said. It's just the absurdity of his George Sanchez's lies is just coming to the point of, like, it's become comical, and for a fact that a lot of the late night talk shows are gonna have a field day with this. A field day. At least they have some new material for the new year, at least for now. But let's see what happens. Let's see as time progresses what else the investigative journalists discover as a result. With that, I leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts on this. Please leave a comment. I do read my comments, and I do try to reply to them. Also, please subscribe. I welcome the subscriptions. I would love to get more subscribers. And I'm grateful for those who have already subscribed. I'm grateful for you guys for subscribing. And I will try to minimize my channel about politics. But this one was just too upset on the fact that he happens to be a representative of my district is the reason why I have to talk about this, unfortunately. But outside of that, I'll just leave it at that. And with it, unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.